What's going on, everybody? Aaron here, helping musicians get better, faster through performances, project reviews, and educational videos. And today we're going over the 2020 Euphonium Lyrical for All-State here in the state of Florida. Just a quick reminder, if you are a trombone player, unlike in middle school and in 9-10, the Lyrical Etude and the Technical Etude for 11-12 are actually split, so they're not the same for euphonium and trombone. So unfortunately, if you play trombone, this one's not for you. But anyway, let's dive into it. So one of the quick things you want to think about in the very beginning of your preparing this etude is, even though it is a Bordoni or Rochut, it is pretty quick, all things considered. It is actually kind of fast. It's 120, that's kind of what they wanted at. It's a little bit faster than I feel comfortable musically playing it, but it's not too terribly quick. But it is something that when you're starting it, it might feel a little bit quicker than you want it to be, upon, just starting the tune off. So just keep that in mind as you start things. Also, even though in our little chunk here, you are not given a dynamic, but you are in fact supposed to be piano. Now, I would take that with a grain of salt and not go for like a true band piano, but maybe just a little bit bigger, kind of on the more mezzo piano type side, just because you don't want to be so soft that, the first three notes or the first jump don't speak. And then also keep in mind, a lot of times with the Rochuts or the Bordonis, the big slur markings that are over top of, 4 to 8 measures sometimes, you want to take those with a grain of salt. If you can slur them, that's great, but legato tongue is great as well. It's less of a slur and more of a phrase mark, so keep that in mind as you prepare this one as well. So for instance, you don't necessarily feel like, if you don't have the embouchure strength in the beginning to go from that E flat to the C, as a slur, it might be a little bit nasty. You can give it a nice little legato tongue, and it's not going to make a huge difference. A nice little legato tongue isn't so abrasive that it's going to ruin the artistry of the legato tongue or the legato phrasing that we have written here in the tune. But really, the biggest thing that you want to look out for is giving each note its own individual beat or emphasis, or moving with each note. With these big old slurs and these big old phrase markings, you want to blow through everything. And so to avoid having this kind of like to where each note is kind of like and it kind of gets its own thing, you want to think really big, long bow strokes. You want to push your air all the way through each phrase, and even though your fingers are moving and our embouchure is changing and all that kind of stuff, it's just nice and steady. Something that I tell my students to do when I have them work on that ability is to do what I call ghosting the notes. And you're listening for, when you're just blowing into it and not making any sound, you're listening for just that constant airstream. So even though, you'll hear a little when you're changing valves, the of air movement is constant. Another thing that you want to watch out for is just clipping the ends of any of these phrases. Just kind of bumping off of them. Make sure the eighth notes get their value and that they sound musical. sometimes it'll affect your breathing and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're conscious of that as you prepare the etude. Now, when you come down off of the G and you're about to go into the fermata, do your best also to not slow down. There's no writ written there. You want to go directly into that fermata and stop on a dime on the F that's underneath the fermata. And it's not a lot. I mean, you're not going to sit there and like, you're not gonna sit there and just hold that note for an eternity, right? It's just like a little emphasis. I kind of think of like almost in like a Carmen Bolero sort of sense. It's just showing off a little bit on one of the, like, you know, generally higher notes in the etude. You know, especially if it's nice and in tune, you want to just kind of linger on it a little bit and then fall down into the A flat. It's also going to sound really nice if you come back in volume a little bit when you start on the fermata. So, you know, you hit that fermata. Gives you a little bit more place to grow as you go through that entire thing. And then the other thing is be careful not to like speed up or roll downhill with it. You know, it is gaining momentum, but we want to make sure we're doing that with the rhythm and the volume, not so much with our speed. So then we've got that nice diminuendo going over a few bars. You want to make sure that you are doing that over the course of all 3 bars. You're not getting really quiet on one or the other. I tend to want to lose my most volume on the longer notes, which is the quarter tied to an eighth. I kind of try my best to, that's where I'm going to pull back on my volume as best as I possibly can. And then in that rallentando that happens in that little B flat scale thing, what you want to do is you want to try your best to not go too slow. You know, you don't want to, I don't think you want to like hit the brakes too much. Just a nice pullback as you get into the A flat, and then the odd tempo starts on the piano eighth notes after the eighth rest. So the odd tempo, you want to make sure that your odd tempo doesn't go with the A flat. So the A flat's not going to be in the new tempo, it's going to be in the writ. So it has to be part of the writ, and then the odd tempo happens on that last little phrase. And then the last rallentando with the octave jumps, just making sure it's nice. You know, if you're having a hard time with those octave jumps, especially on command or with consistency, you know, you might not want to rallentando too much because that exposes yourself. So just keep that in mind as you prepare. You don't want to like stop on a dime all of a sudden. And then the other thing is be really careful that if you rallentando, make sure that your dotted half quarter note is still in some sort of a time and you don't just hold it for an eternity or you just hit it and then get off of it. You want to make sure that it's in time with whatever you're doing. So for instance, starting on that last odd tempo. Right, what I'm conducting there, that's what's going on in my head as I'm playing that, you know, as a performance. I'm just trying to make sure 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and off. You want to make sure you give it its good length, especially if it's nice and in tune and everything else went so well for you. But that's about all I've got for this lyrical. It's actually a really good selection. I think it gives a lot of people who have good artistry and good tone a really good chance to succeed and also show off a ton. So I'm really excited that this was one of that they chose, not only for 11, 12, but it's also the same etude for 9 and 10. They just do a different section of the same etude. But it'll be good. Really, most of it is maintain your pretty quick tempo, watch the dynamics, and then watch how you're going to do all of those rallentandos and the fermatas. But anyway, if you like this video and you need some more help maybe with the technical, go ahead and check out the playlist that this video is a part of. I've gone ahead and done a tips video on just the all-state audition process as it is, as well as the technical should be up. If you do not see this or any of the other videos that you're looking for that pertain to all-state, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, notification bell, or just come and check back. If you don't see the video that you were looking for, I will probably upload it pretty soon. I'm just gradually getting to all of these etudes. And if you need any extra help with this, I do teach private lessons and I do them digitally, so you don't even have to come to me here in Tampa. For more information about that, or if you need the book for this etude, links in the description down below. But anyway, that's all I've got for the lyrical etude. Again, my name's Aaron, reminding you to be happy, but never satisfied. I'll see you next time.